Well, as of tonight, haven't gotten all the other videos uploaded. Didn't say haven't, say having gotten all the other videos uploaded. Just wanted to make sure you understood that, but kind of running out of little random things to talk about, so thought I might do a little other work and make some little sleeves for the wisemen's coats that will probably go the rest of the way down. So start them out at about 1/4 of an inch this way and a 1/4 of an inch this way, where we got these lines. Got other lines to make here. Make one go a little bit of a 1/4 of an inch to one direction, and one go about a 1/4 of an inch to the other. And then we're going to have the little lines to make. And then those are going to be really long sleeves, kind of like something like what the Pope has. So I'm going to try to make the same little lines along this little one too. Kind of 1/4 of an inch one way and a 1/4 of an inch the other. And wow, take a little time to work at what we have. Oh, time shall only see a little bright day come ahead of us, I say. Oh, little work to make it so we're seeing bright, shiny, light armor, good faces, blessed times, blessed spirits. And so come up with this way we make the king. I've also heard one of the places on TV when I first got introduced to Elvis Presley. He died before I was born, but when I was a kid, the time I first got introduced to him was when there was this little commemorative plate they were advertising on TV for him. That was how I found out who he was, and just little interesting things to learn. And where they called him the king, I didn't know exactly what that meant where he was called the king, but did learn that he was called the king of rock and roll when he was alive. So didn't really know that much, but that was just something I learned over time. And it's kind of like how it always was with these people, that it was like how Elvis was the king of rock and roll, Michael Jackson was the king of pop. And I can kind of still remember the night when Michael Jackson died, that we had it on the TV, that little thing in the news where they were tracking where he was and tracking where the ambulance was taking him and all, and it just suddenly became a news flash right when his death happened. Everybody was suspicious of it and watching it all that time. And when he died, I thought about the rough childhood he had and all the things I remember learning about him from having watched some kind of Jackson 5 mini-series as a kid. And the little things we find out about these people and who they are and what they do just really makes it so we see where a little grace can come in, make it to where we see just who people are and what they do, all the things they make of our lives. And I remember on that night, it only comes up because I just remember on the night he died when I was hearing all this stuff about the overdose of his medicine and having a heart attack from it, and just kind of got me thinking. It was like Elvis was the king of rock and roll, Michael Jackson was the king of pop, and both died relatively the same way. It was just thing I was thinking that evening. Thing I was saying in that room to my two siblings who were right there in the room with me. It was just kinda a little awkward thing to think for the moment, but kinda like one of those things you learn in life and get a little more used to the longer you think about it. There were always sad times here on Earth. I mean, I've shared with people online pictures of that thing I carved of the Apollo 11 from the time when Neil Armstrong died. There was a thing in the news then. Think about all the things we see, think, and hear. I'm kind of getting to this point where I'm getting the little lines drawn into these little wise men and oh, the things that the kings have in common. We know we got this little 1/4 inch lines done along this little piece. Oh, the work he kind of comes to be when we work along him and make it so that he's going to be a little emblem to us for sure. So we got it on the Kentucky coffee tree, the walnut, and the poplar. So this is just among things where we work just to get a little farther along. I think I was a little off in my measurements here in just a little place or two, so not sure I got them right in every place, so gotta go back, check to make sure of that. And I'm sure we did get a 1/4 inch over in this little wise man. And I'd say there's just a place where we're going to come along, make a tiny little robe to go on these men and show a little grace and critter work to what we do for them. I say, little time, little grace, work shall work in our hearts to liven us and see a lot, I say. And that's where I come along with these little statues, and a little wooden statue can sure mean a lot. Think about how it was with Michelangelo's statue of David. Oh, the little things that have shown around about that over the years, and all the things people have said and known concerning that. It was just a lovely little statue to see for its own time, and I've even seen it show up in encyclopedias as a kid, and these days I just feel like the internet shares a whole lot more information with us these days. We always got the things like Wikipedia and stuff where we get our information, but sometimes a Wikipedia article is trusted and sometimes it's not, just depending on the source where people get the information from. There were times when, of all things in life, little information was shared here and there. We know that there were times when we learned how information can come and go. We already got the little lines carved into the Kentucky coffee tree wise men and got a line or two to take in this little one as well, in a little bit of one of walnut, and kind of make it so we make the lines come out just the way they ought to be, the way they should be, the way they need to be, and how we think that it's going to be all for a good wild guess for us. I say that kind of like how the work shall make its way along our lives, and some little line or two I probably forgot to add on this one, but it'll kind of make its way. Some things we forget to do now and then in life, but all the good things are the things we take care of the best we can and know how good we need them to come out as far as just how they're going to be when we get the things all done that make them what they are and who they are. And oh, I say that this is just one little time when we work along and make things so they're just good messages for us. I say, kindly know what's coming to you, and then, you know, well, I tell y'all, I had to make a little pause in that video because as I recorded on that one that I was recording a while ago, I kind of had to edit it out. I got a little sidetracked in my work and I got kind of quiet there and forgot that I had the camera on and started to pick things up to go upstairs and show them. And I'd say the thing is that left it running there a little bit, so had to cut part of that video out where I stopped talking and then have it on there and working on this part right now. But it's all going to be in the same video once it all gets pieced together and uploaded. But that's just where we come along with this thing. And then want to show you all what I finally got done. I did get all of these sleeves and these cloaks done. Got a little work done in everything, and this is just the moment when everything shows up now for the better. I'd say that there's probably little few things we're going to figure out next. Just had to go ahead and make a 12th part to this. So, that's why I got on tonight, but would say I've had a long day with what I've been doing all day, and probably might need to take a moment to rest after this, kind of maybe let a little work probably wait till morning or something. But I'd say there's certain steps on which we've come quite along, and maybe even take a little moment to perhaps draw little lines in our work. So I decided I'd go ahead, since these shepherds have such big beards, maybe give them such big noses too, and come up to the top and make the little places out to the edge where the little slits hang open for their eyes, and kind of come to work along a little place in their lives where, I kind of decided to make the nose a little wider than on this shepherd than I did on the other pieces of work. So That's how we come along with this little step to take it where it's gonna be the next place it goes. And so just decide, maybe just put on a little glove and take it up another little step. We kind of got this part on the last one where we make out the forehead, but needed to work it along to come into this and make another little line to make out the little eyes of the shepherd, and put in a little faith and hope and love and little time when we work to make things come new, like Jehovah will do in the end when he makes the new kingdoms and the new earth, make all things new. That is where we get the line here. And I don't know where I laid my thumb guard down, but it's just places where we come into all this work and all this business just to put our hands in together and kind of make a little light shine to us. Bless children in life and all things, I say. Oh, the work shall come and make us all see little happy, blessed things for us. Oh, the work. Oh, the things. I say we're going to try to carve in the little places for the shepherd's eyelids now. We got a little place put in where we kind of will make the eye look just the way like it should, and come down to where we just will work along here. And I say maybe get something out of this for sure when it comes out to be the right thing for us. And then finally get a little carve made out of this. And I say that this is just probably going to be an old shepherd like we need. And we know that shepherds were around in those days, and this is how a little work shall make its way along. We got this much out of it, out of the face, and put other little lines into it, make it so it's going to be a little more work to us, and maybe be something that other people will see and enjoy. I'd say we got this far along. Maybe that ought to make the beard show. And I was talking to my mother about it upstairs a while ago. She kind of told me it would be hard to tell what the beard and mustache were, as big and long as they were. And I said, well, you know, once I get the eyes and nose put in, you'll be able to tell. And she kind of said about that, yes, I'm sure that you will. And so I say that this is just what it's going to come out to be when we get all done with the little piece. Make it so it's going to be a little kind of timely work and fashion to us. And in our little work we have little shepherd boys that watch the sheep in the fields. And even in these days, even farmers still have them, you know. We always heard about how shepherds have to lead sheep up over the mountains and through the valleys. And once I was attending a church where we had a certain minister who went through all that stuff with us, telling us all about that and how it worked and how it went. And oh, the little ways they educated us about sheep, and how that a shepherd leads us in ways, how that Jesus as our shepherd leads us in ways like a shepherd leads its own sheep. And so they have the rods out. They have to keep them safe from the mountain lions. I've heard about all that, and the wolves and things like that that come along to prey. And so it's just kind of where the things that we come down to see, we're going to try to work along a little bit of a place for a nose here. And this shepherd, you can pretty much tell who he is now, and work the same little step along this one as well. Get the nose where it's in a little bit better shape. Finally come down to where we see what we're going to have here. And like I said, probably putty in those cracks sometime. They're going to have a little extra work to go into them. So I say, like a shepherd leads its sheep astray, I say, oh, kindly show us, shepherd, show us the way. And for one thing, I say that this is the kind of thing you come down to seeing when it's all said and done. Oh, and I say, sometimes we fool along till we get it done the rest of the way. And as for all I've had to share here, seems to be so much to say. Do I have to mention to you that, especially when it came to these harder woods, I kind of did the little Kentucky tree and walnut first, and poplar being the softest of them all, kind of did that one last this time. Kind of try to alternate around with the different little steps that I've taken the wood, and I say that this is just how I work along. Make it so we're seeing how things shall make their way through the light of day. It's dark outside now, and time of year when it's the time in the fall when the sun goes down a little earlier and moon rises a little sooner, so little hours are going to change over time in our lives. We're going to see how things come and how they go, and I'd say that this might be a time when probably had enough for the day. Maybe I'll get around to sanding some of these, kind of removing some more saw marks, and I'd say at the end of the day, it's going to be so much more to share, so much more to show, but I think I'm going to call it a night now and get the rest of this video uploaded so I can have it to show. Thanks for watching, and take care, and please subscribe to this channel if it so interests you. Goodbye.